So in business, the P&L, we have our revenue coming in, and then we have our expenses coming out, and then we have the bottom line of the profit that's there. And that's a measurement of how our business is performing. That same idea is happening with us and our health, except for our revenue coming in are the good things we're doing in our lifestyle, in our diet, with our nutrition, all those things we're doing. Those are the positives that are coming in. Welcome to the Superhuman Entrepreneur podcast. My name is Dr. Jeremy Mipson, and I am so excited to talk with you about the secrets of living a high-performance life as an entrepreneur and being successful in all areas. Today, we're diving into a topic that hits home for so many of us, and I know that I felt it as a business owner. As I talk to other business owners, that they are also running into the same thing, that how we feel physically in our life ends up manifesting itself with how we feel, how our business performs. And so our basically, how we can show up as a leader, as the owner of the business, is having an impact on how our team performs, or especially if we're just starting out and we're a solopreneur, it definitely has a big impact on the business and our team, and ultimately our bottom line. So kind of one of the analogies that I like to share when I talk about this with business owners, all of us are familiar with a P&L statement. We have our profit and loss statement to kind of show the health of the business and look at the numbers that are there. But the same principle applies to us and our health. So in business, the P&L, we have our revenue coming in, and then we have our expenses coming out, and then we have the bottom line of the profit that's there. And that's a measurement of how our business is performing. That same idea is happening with us and our health, except for our revenue coming in are the good things we're doing in our lifestyle, in our diet, with our nutrition, all those things we're doing. Those are the positives that are coming in. And then we have the expenses, those negatives that are happening in our business, in our life. And so those could be inflammation, those could be bad habits, those could be things that are causing a negative impact. And ultimately, that profit coming out is our performance of how we feel and how we're showing up, not just for the business, but also how we show up at home as a husband or wife or parent, and all those areas. And then also, throughout our life, that impact, that performance that we have, that ability to show up is definitely going to have an impact about how we can perform at home. So those symptoms that we're experiencing, whether it's be, as entrepreneurs, we love to push ourselves to the brink. We push hard to perform and spend hours and hours in the business. And oftentimes we're not showing up at home. The sleepless nights, the fatigue, the brain fog, all of that is a big factor. And a lot of times we just push it off. And especially on the physical side of things, we ignore ourselves, and that prevents us from being our best. So, I'm sure all of us have felt these days as an entrepreneur where we show up in the morning and we just feel exhausted, or our mind is, we have the brain fog. We're just not sleeping good. We're not, we have the low energy, but yet we know we need to show up for the day. And so that has a huge impact on us and affects us in all aspects. It could be, weight, it could be all those things. And so what do we want to do with that is we want to make sure that we use that information correctly. This is not just, a small thing. This is a big warning sign of something that might lead up down the line. I know a lot of entrepreneurs run into exhaustion and having big issues and having it have a big effect on them, and they end up crashing and they have experienced burnout. And so we need to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. We're adding in the revenue and eliminating those expenses for our health so that we can continue to have that performance that we want to long-term. Because those symptoms, those brain fogs, that lack of focus, that has a big ripple effect that ends up affecting all parts of our business and also then affects other parts of our lives. So many times I know we felt this. I know that I've experienced this in my life too. When we're so focused on the business and that takes all of our energy, we're not showing up like we want to at home with our spouse or with our kids or in other areas of our life. And so it's inevitable as an entrepreneur that we end up going through these stages of burnout and an up and down and the roller coaster that comes with that. Because when you're tired and when you're stressed, your decision-making becomes compromised and you can't think as clearly. And suddenly there might be a big strategic decision that you need to make, but you aren't as sharp and you aren't able to make the best decision. And you might hesitate or different things that could slow you down. And ultimately that leads to, whether it's less revenue or different things. And I think of an example of just a guy that I talked to recently. He's having some big health issues with some digestive symptoms. And we were talking about how we can potentially get to the root cause of that issue and what's going on. So for him, with these big digestive issues that he's experiencing, his conventional doctor is recommending surgery as an option for him. And so we talked about what was going on, and we did some testing to kind of figure out what the root cause was and what the building plan was. And we talked about how those digestive issues for him are a big expense on his performance. And he was talking about how his business was experiencing basically those same symptoms by lower revenue and less performance as he was as the leader of that business. Really, your performance as the entrepreneur and business owner is one of the key driving factors of the performance of your business. And this gentleman was experiencing that too. And so ultimately, there is good news with this, because when we gather the information correctly to help us to know what it is that we need to do, we can, just like if we were looking at a business and looking at our profit and loss statement and seeing where the imbalances are, we can do the same thing for health. But we need to do it in a way that actually has the right numbers to look at, which involves a much deeper dive than what conventional medicine is looking at. So conventional medicine does very basic testing to find out serious problems, when the majority of those problems that are there, we can find 10, 20, 30 years before they even show up on a conventional lab work when we are doing the right type of testing. And so that's one thing that I love to do with helping entrepreneurs to perform their best, is we can figure out what these problems are years ahead of time and ultimately then work to address them. And we can figure out what is going on, what's slowing you down, what's leading to the fatigue, what's leading to the lack of focus. And then from there, we can build the diet, we can build the supplements, we can build the right plan that is going to help prevent you from running with and dealing with all these problems that come from the entrepreneur life of dealing with a million things at once. So ultimately, like, my job and what I love to do is to help entrepreneurs figure out what is going on with these problems before they become super problematic. And then from there, building the plan that's going to do that. Because when we can then do that, when we can increase your revenue of your health revenue of more and more good things coming in, and we can decrease your health expenses of less inflammation, less problems, less insulin resistance, less leaky gut, less whatever those problems are that are causing those expenses, that leads to ultimately a higher health profit, which is higher performance and more energy, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, all that, so that you can show up and continue to be your best self. Because when we do that, it's often much easier than people think. It really comes down to, it's almost like within the first couple of weeks, it's like flipping a switch where suddenly that energy, that mental focus is better than you remembered. It's like going back in time almost with how your mind is working and helping you to really start performing at highest level. And then that just continues, because their health is a never ending journey. We're never done with health while we're in this life. And so we just want to keep you performing at your best as possible for as long as possible. Because ultimately, as an entrepreneur, there's a few things that kind of our focus at Superhuman Entrepreneur to help you to continue performing your best. Is that, number one, your health is your best asset. Your health is what determines how you show up at the office, how you show up in the field, how you show up at home, and how you show up with your spouse and with your kids and all the things you're doing. That's the one common denominator in all those things, is that you are there showing up. And when we can have high energy and high focus and high performance in all those areas, that also leads to the ultimate amount of happiness that you have. Our second core value and second focus is that family and relationship comes first, because there's no success in this world that will outweigh true success at home. And so ultimately, we want to help you to be able to do that, to show up and be a better leader with your kids, with your spouse, and so that you can have that true impact that you want and that true happiness. And third is that vision drives decision. And so you should have a goal of what you want for your life. Because I know that if I would guess that if we were to have you picture your life 20 years from now, none of you would want to be sick in a hospital bed. That's not what any of your future visions hold. And so we want to be able to help you to ensure that 20 years from now, 30 years from now, 50 years from now, 100 years from now, if you want, that you can still be performing at your best and have your best health that you want. That we can help you to continue to show up as your best self today and tomorrow, as well as 50 years from now, or whatever is your ultimate goal is for your health and longevity. But your clarity, your energy, and your health is a direct driver to be able to make that vision happen for the future. And fourth, we focus on unstoppable growth, because we know that there's unlimited potential and possibility for you in your life. And we want to help you to make sure that your health is part of that. One of the ultimate purposes of this life is for continual progression and continual growth. And our job is to help you to do that and help you to achieve that as much as possible. And last, and probably one of the most important things, is your growth equals your success. The amount of success you have in this life directly comes back to how much you can grow physically, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. The more that you can grow yourself, the more impact that you're able to have in your business or in your home or in your marriage or with your kids, with your friends, with those you want to impact, is directly tied back to you. And it is actually limited by you, which means it's awesome. That is unlimited because of your amazing potential that you have. What can you do today? The first thing you can do is you can start asking yourself a true question and thinking about yourself is how am I? What symptoms am I ignoring? And where am I ignoring this impact in my life? If you are at the office or whatever, and you find times of lack of focus and lack of being productive, that's a sign, that's a symptom. Let's see what's going on. Why is that there? Because I know, like all entrepreneurs, you have a big, long list of things that you need to do. Why aren't you doing them all the time? I know this is a problem I run into as well, is we need to make sure we dial up and enhance your focus so that we can get those things done, or we can delegate them to the right person to be able to get things done. It's not just that symptom of lack of focus in the business, but what about at home? Are you focused and fully engaged when you're at home with your spouse or with your kids? Are you showing up like the parent that you want to be or the spouse that you want to be? If not, that's a symptom. Let's figure out why. Ultimately, our energy and our focus is accumulation of the cells in our body. And so what's going on? How can we help you to dial in your lifestyle, your nutrition, your supplements, your hormones, all the different things that make you go? How can we help upgrade them and level that up so that you can level up yourself in all other areas of your life? We ultimately believe that finding that root cause, finding whatever that hurdle is that's stopping you from being successful in any of those areas, has the biggest impact on your day-to-day life. Can you imagine having more energy, clearer focus, better focus, full engagement when you're at home? And what that impact will have on translating to better sales, better revenue, and better profits in your business, as well as a better relationship with your spouse, a better parenting with your kids, and having better impact in your community and your friends that you want to. That's what can happen when we can really unlock your superhuman potential. As we know, as entrepreneurs, we are the ones that create our own world. It doesn't matter who the president is or what the economy is doing. We create our own economy. We create our own possibility and create our own results as entrepreneurs. And if we want the world to be a better place, it comes down to us entrepreneurs making it happen and performing better. Remember, each symptom you're experiencing, every area that shows up is an area for growth and possibility for growth, and a spot where you can make a better impact in this world. So don't wait for crisis to come. So many times, especially with business owners, they're just like, go, stress. And something big, catastrophic might happen. Just had an experience with this as well. So I was talking with a guy, he was going through our program. We found some big major problems for him. And he ended up being in the hospital multiple times within a month, right after I was talking of things that we had uncovered. And ultimately he decided, I should have started working on these things, because he runs 3 different businesses, like most entrepreneurs that are just like doing so many different things, and had a big impact. He has a young daughter at home, just 6 years old, and suddenly he's having multiple scares in the hospital. But luckily we're able to get him on track and get him focused and get him rolling, to make sure that none of those things are long lasting, and he can have long lasting success when it comes to his goals. So don't wait for a crisis to come to have a huge impact on your health. Start now. If this episode resonated with you, be sure to subscribe and share this with a friend or fellow entrepreneur to help make the world a better place, because that's how we do it. We all need to work together to be able to make this happen. So if you're ready to tackle any of these symptoms head on that we talked about, this fatigue, the brain fog, the digestive issues, the bigger issues, the high blood pressure, the memory fading, whatever it is, all those things that are starting to pop up, remember, there's no such thing as normal aging. There's only unhealthy aging. We want to be able to address that and figure out what that root cause is. Because when we do that, we can work together to help build a plan that's going to help you to perform your very best. So until next time, keep growing, keep leading. You have that superhuman potential. Let's unlock that. And remember, your business can only grow as much as you do. So let's make it happen. You're enjoying the podcast? Help us reach more entrepreneurs like you by leaving a review. As a thank you, everyone who leaves a 5-star review will be entered into a drawing for some exciting prizes. We are here to help you more than just listen. Head over to superhumanentrepreneur.com, click on community, and join a powerful network of entrepreneurs that are striving to be their best. Each episode includes action steps, resources, and accountability to help you to implement these ideas and start seeing results.